All right, hey everyone, hey all you boys and girls. So I watched this Ben Shapiro video in PragerU. It's called "Why Has the West Been So Successful?" And I thought to myself, wow, there are a lot of lies in here. So let's talk about that. I'm sorry that there's no socialism video today. Unfortunately, I have not finished writing it, so you're not getting that today. Instead, I'm just gonna kind of have a loosely structured video, not exactly responding to this video, but kind of using it as a template. I thought the ideas Ben Shapiro expressed in this video were really interesting, just because, to me at least, it's fascinating seeing 5 minutes of confident ignorance being spurted out of the face of a racist with a high school knowledge of history. Ben, being the facts and logic guy arguing for the side with neither facts nor logic, has to make up shit to sound smart. Now, I'm not so interested with the actual individual lies and half-truths as I am with the bigger picture of all this, but just so that I'm not accused of ad-homing Ben Shapiro, let's talk about the few things he gets horrifically wrong. One thing I've noticed about the way Ben Shapiro lies is the confidence with which he does it. Since a lot of what he says sounds like vaguely reasonable conclusions based on what Westerners are taught in history class, at least in high school, a lot of people don't bother to question what evidence he has to support these claims. He says everything so confidently that people think he must have facts and logic on his side, right? Like, I've experienced this a lot when debating kind of reactionary types on Twitch and elsewhere, or not Twitch anymore until I get my account back, if that ever happens. They tell like 20-30 lies within the span of a 2 or 3 minute monologue that they demand you listen to without interrupting them. So by the end, it's literally impossible to address every single one of their points because you'd be stuck there all day. So these lies kind of go unchallenged for an extended period of time. People hear them being repeated without them being challenged, and they think, oh, well, a lot of people are saying this, it must be true. Nobody ever challenges them. No one ever challenges them on it. That's how a lot of these fake statistics kind of like go around, even though a lot of these, I guess, big YouTubers or whatever will debunk them, but you still like get the grunt kind of reactionary types spouting off these statistics, not knowing, genuinely not knowing, like, how badly this shit has been debunked, right? All that being said, to anyone with an actual knowledge of history, economics, religion, or anything really, many of his claims sound ludicrous even upon first hearing them. And worse yet, like I said, he kind of rapid fires these lies, so there's no way to respond to all of them really, which is why I'm not even going to bother with that, right? I'm just going to respond to kind of the two biggest lies in the video, which are kind of central to his thesis. The first being that genocide, slavery, and environmental destruction have apparently been done by everyone, and the positives of Western civilization are unique to the West.
The left likes to focus on the bad: genocide, slavery, environmental destruction. But those have been present in every civilization from time immemorial. The positives are unique to the West: religious tolerance, abolition of slavery, universal human rights, the development of the scientific method. These are accomplishments of a scope and scale that only the West can claim.
Okay, let's respond to the first claim, because at the very least, it's not as untruthful as the second one. That's a nice thing to say, I think. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to prove that literally every culture has taken part in the kind of things that Ben Shapiro mentioned, but if you see history in the extremely reductionist way Ben sees it, i.e. the West versus the East, whatever those things mean, then yeah, I suppose the amalgamation of all non-white, non-Judeo-Christian people have taken part of that. But the issue is precedent. For example, the triangle trade, which is kind of like the West's big slavery meme, it's kind of unprecedented in its brutality, right? The idea of keeping people as chattel, the idea of kind of lifelong slavery of children, like inherited slavery, this kind of weird racial thing that was going on, that was really fucking weird. All of that is kind of unprecedented brutality. You'd be really hard to it's really difficult to find another system of slavery that's like as bad as the triangle trade was at the time. For genocide, well, obviously the big Western Western genocide meme is the Holocaust, and I really don't think I should have to tell anyone, but the Holocaust was obviously also unprecedented brutality. The systematic extermination of the Jews, the scientific experiments, the slavery, all of that stuff, that was like again, there are similar things. There are other genocides. It's not completely untruthful, but there are not many forms of genocide that were even comparable to the Holocaust. But I think the worst lie here comes when he says that apparently all other cultures have caused environmental destruction, which is ridiculous. I don't see how anyone could ever say that. Obviously, the carbon footprint and the pollution caused by modern industrialized nations, at least in our current year, without proper renewable energy resources being developed and subsidized, obviously the most industrialized nations are going to have the highest carbon outputs, and those are by and large, even Ben would say, Western countries. So obviously they're by far the biggest contributors to environmental destruction. The destruction and the extinction of various species, the general pollution, the destruction of coral reefs, things like that. Obviously that is mostly the West. Like fucking, I don't know, like Africans, I guess, polluting a river by shitting in it, I guess. Oh, let me not say it. But yeah, again, if you see everything in this simplistic, smooth-brained way Ben Shapiro sees everything, then yeah, you can pretend that the horrors you're eager to downplay have an equivalent in every other culture, but that it's simply not borne out by any of the evidence, right? So let's move on to the second one, which is apparently that the positives of Western civilization are unique to the West. So the problem is that everything that Ben Shapiro claims was invented by Western civilization was in fact invented by someone in some other civilization, and maybe even not popularized by the West, but not even necessarily. So this mix of faith and reason Ben loves, which by the way is a insane theory. Like, I've seen Ben Shapiro in like interviews trying to create this grand historical narrative or theory. He really thinks he's like stumbled upon something with the mix of faith and reason thing. Like he really thinks he's discovered like a real grand narrative that explains Western civilization. It's ridiculous. Like, no historian would buy into this kind of thing.
By investing reason with so much power, Greek thought became integral to the Western mission. Nowhere is this more perfectly expressed than in the American Revolution, in which the founding fathers took the best of the European Enlightenment with its roots in Greek thought, and the best of Judeo-Christian practice with its roots in the Bible, and melded them into a whole new political philosophy. Without Judeo-Christian values, we fall into scientific materialism, the belief that physical matter is the only reality, and therefore also fall into nihilism, the belief that life has no meaning, that we're merely stellar dust in a cold universe. Without Greek reason, we fall into fanaticism, the belief that fundamentalist adherence to unprovable principles represents the only path toward meaning.
But anyways, this mix of faith and reason and Ben loves was an explicit part of the Indian philosophical tradition, the Indian Vedic tradition, right? The idea of a lot of Indian philosophy, which was happening concurrently to a lot of Greek philosophy, was that they're trying to discover stuff about the spiritual realm and the physical realm. But there are also like schools like the Charvaka school, which is more of a strictly materialist, atheistic form of Indian Vedic philosophy. But either way, these things take place all in the same like generalized culture. Not to say that all Indians have the same culture, but like there's at least like a generally overarching culture like there was for like the Germans or Japanese or whatever. It at least takes place in the same culture without the need to create a spurious link between ancient Greece and fucking Jerusalem of all places, because apparently Jerusalem is Western. Worse yet, Ben claims that most pagan religions taught that the universe is random and cyclical. A claim so bizarre, I literally don't know what else to say besides, no. The Greeks obviously also didn't invent reason. They arguably created philosophy, but the history of philosophy is and like which culture I guess invented it is really, really contentious, and Ben Shapiro is not qualified to speak on that issue. So like, good. We got to the end of that. We safely established that Ben Shapiro, he does the lies, right? The problem is like these kinds of lies are fairly general for the content of PragerU, surprisingly enough. It's especially concerning because PragerU presents itself as an academic institution despite its shocking lack of academic rigor. The fact that any so-called intellectual or part of the intellectual dark web, a term so fucking ridiculous and cringy that I want to kill myself every time I fucking have to say this shit. The fact that anyone like that would willingly associate themselves with an institution like Prager University is fucking baffling to me. Except the problem is that it's not really that baffling. Like, these people aren't stupid. Ben Shapiro isn't stupid. Dennis Prager, he's a bit stupid, but he's not that stupid, right? A lot of these people are stupid, but some of them are not stupid, and they still go on. So there's a problem there. Like, we have to analyze that part. The part with the people that aren't fucking idiots, right? The problem is that the people that are not stupid, that are doing this shit, they know they're not stupid. They just think that you're stupid. In fact, they think you're very fucking stupid, right? So let's talk about like this concept called the big lie. So the big lie, unfortunately for me, because I'm going to get probably a lot of people in my comment section screaming Godwin's law at me. The term was coined by Hitler, so that sucks. The idea of the big lie is that you tell a lie so far beyond the normally accepted rules of what is like a sane thing to say in normal discourse, and you repeat that lie so many times that people think that because you're saying something so outlandish with such confidence, as many fascists like to do, you say it with such confidence that people are willing to be like, well, this guy is saying this thing, which sounded weird to me at first, but he's saying it so many times that there must be at least some element of truth to it, right? Fucking all the big fucking totalitarians used it, not just Hitler, right? Fucking Stalin, fucking, I'm pretty sure Mao did it, right? Franco, I'm almost certain Franco probably did that shit at some point, right? But like, obviously, like the main two are fucking Hitler and Stalin, the big fucking totalitarian boys. There's also obviously like Kim Jong-il, Kim Il-sung, whatever, that also does this kind of like crazy big lie propaganda techniques. I think we can see this obviously in PragerU, right? This is why, even though they claim to be a university, they don't cite any sources for any of the outlandish, loaded statements that they make. Literally, I'm not joking about this. Just go into their description. It's open for anyone to see. There are no sources for anything. The reason for this is the point isn't fact. The point isn't to tell the truth. The point isn't to achieve the best outcome through factual analysis of reality. The point is to advance their ideology through any subversive method possible, including pretending to be a university. Something I found interesting upon thinking about it is that One of the biggest sub-techniques of the big lie involves, while telling the big lie, simultaneously accusing your opposition of telling the big lie. This is why the fake news panic was really a handout to Trump. There's always some variation on this, right? Like, Hitler, the fucking Jewish Marxists are telling the big lie. You got the Stalin saying that the Trotskyites and the capitalists are telling the big lie. By constantly saying their opposition is telling the big lie, they convince people that what they really need to buy into is their own big lie. A lie that they tell with such confidence that people assume that it must be true, because the point of the big lie is to make it so that it doesn't seem like the big lie. Yeah, so that's kind of the main point I wanted to make. The socialism video is in the works, I guess. It's going to come out eventually, I hope. But yeah, I'm gonna sign off now. Hopefully I see you guys within the month, I hope. I'll leave you on this last quote by the United States Office of Strategic Services when describing Hitler's psychological profile. His primary rules were: never allow the public to cool off, never admit a fault or wrong, never concede that there may be some good in your enemy, never leave room for alternatives, never accept blame, concentrate on one enemy at a time and blame him for everything that goes wrong. People will believe a big lie sooner than a little one, and if you repeat it frequently enough, people will sooner or later believe it.
At least 380 foreign-born individuals were convicted in terror cases inside the United States. And even right now, the largest number of people are under investigation for